Hi everyone, thank you for having us here. My name is Daniel, CEO of bloXlab, the tech team behind bloXmove, the mobility company, and also NFTicket. And what we are presenting here today is our NFTicket solution for the green asset management. So in the same way as decentralized finance or the new business models on finance require specific DeFi protocols, we understand that digital services and digital events require specific digital NFTickets. Why? Because the classical solutions are not trustful. You need to trust the other person before you actually start doing business with them. They are not efficient. They have a lot of intermediate steps, of course, that create friction, and they are by definition not decentralized. All in all, they are not exploiting the blockchain technologies. And this has been already discovered by several companies that are offering NFTicket solutions. So why are we here? What is our specialty? Our main topic is that we have been born as a green native company, understand as we have a clear focus on green use cases, decarbonization and so on as NFTicket, and also using as much as possible green technology, especially in regards with mainnets. What we offer: cryptographic ID verification for all the involved parties, user certificates and businesses, access control, payment and settlement, and the tokenization of certificates. All of this under one protocol, blockchain protocol, of course, with all the security. This protocol is customizable, so it supports almost any business logic, and we offer it as an API as a service. So the integration with already existing software for the business is pretty straightforward and simple. Partners that we have: Spherity and Ontology, key players in the digital identities world, and Celo and EnergyWeb as our mainnets, which has a clear focus in green and sustainable technology. All of this is, of course, packed inside an NFT, nice NFT and collectible NFT that can be traded and that can be shown with all the images as in the same way as we are used to play with NFTs around. What we already have in place, these are not pilots, these are already running projects. We have settlement for mobility use cases. We are coming from bloXmove. Mobility use cases, we need payments between users, drivers, companies. We have solved that on top on the NFTicket protocol via token transfer, coupons, vouchers, and so on. Entry tickets, NFTiverse metaverse event that was decarbonized. It was combining the entry tickets and the tokenization of the carbon certificates. We provided this technology and it is validated. And we are currently working also with a German company in the Tage quota context in order to handle electric vehicle certificates of ownership and usage. Taking a quick look at the technology architecture diagram. The first thing, when you want to trade a certificate, you need to bring it on chain. So just imagine that you have solar panels at home, you are producing green energy, you get a certificate for this green energy that you are producing. You need to convert it into asset on chain. This is what the NFT cert does. And most important, the NFT cert ensures that this certificate is unique, so cannot be reselled, cannot be duplicated, and cannot be sold off chain. This is the most important part of the NFT cert. Once the certificate is on chain, so included in our NFTicket protocol, of course, there is a specific business logic attached to the asset. It is not the same if this specific asset is sold as once, if it can be sliced, or if it should be aggregated with others. And then when it is there, the customer can directly buy it and present it to any service provider that accepts it as a proof or as a payment. The service provider only needs to trust the NFTicket protocol and has the mechanism to, in real time, verify what is happening and receive the corresponding payment if it applies. On the right side, what we see is a screenshot of a OpenSea NFT. This NFT is the one that the user is receiving, and expanded here below we have the properties that also NFTiverse was showing before with regard to the specific certificate, where this energy was consumed, and so on and so on. Important point here, these attributes are IPFS attributes, so these are not on chain. So let's say they are not blockchain secured. What we do in our protocol is that the key parameters, the key attributes for the working of the business model are on chain, or at least if this is not compliant with data policies, the proof or a verification method that allows the people know that this attributes have not been modified. This is really important to understand. So what are we working on right now is expanding a little bit our community, making us a little bit more known. So we are working on 2 different demos. The first one will be hosted in our bloxmove.com webpage, so the users can play around, receive an NFTicket, redeem it for services. The second one is what Anavers mentioned before in the context of the Celo Bootcamp. Both of them will be ready during this month, and yeah, we just hope that the people enjoy it. And the last one is an NFT collection that we are working in as probably some source of funding as well, in which we are creating art. NFTs, we always relate it with art, but this is art with utility in the sense of governance and revenue sharing from the protocol that we also want to share with the community. Interesting thing, all these mechanisms are built on top of the NFTicket itself. The revenue, by the way, that the protocol is making is, as almost any protocol on chain, based on fees per use. And we can also discuss how integration would work afterwards. In order to grow, just one idea to keep in mind, we are B2B ready. Our solution is already deployed, is API as a service, so pretty easy to integrate. We have projects and partners that have already used it. So let's say this pilot phase is over and we are ready to accept new projects, new partners, and work on new solutions. Also, whatever is green, whatever use case that has not been addressed yet, we are, of course, more than open to work on it and to explore possible solutions here. The team, me on the left, CEO and founder of bloXlab, Harry Behrens as CTO, and Sophia Redinger, CCO, all the 3 of us coming from bloXmove side, and also Loic Tillman and Kai from Enavers as sustainability advisors, bringing a lot of experience in the energy sector and green technologies. You can reach us in the bloXmove webpage and usual social networks. And thank you very much, and ready for your questions.
Thanks very much for that, Daniel. Now we'll move to the Q&A.
Hi, maybe very easy question. How do you plan to earn money?
Well, yeah, as I said, this is there are 2 sources of revenue, right? The first one, this is a protocol. So of course, whenever the protocol is used, there is a fee that needs to be paid. It is a protocol, so we are not expecting 10% fees. Of course, we are in the range of 1, 2, 3%. So this is the first business model that we have. When it comes to integration, this is API as a service, but of course, not all the companies are ready to integrate their APIs in their system because API ultimately is Web3 and there are some special tricks. So we are also offering technical support on the integration of the systems and, if needed, in the deployment of the specific business logic into smart contracts. But the main source of revenue, ideally, this is decentralized, so anyone should be able to connect to it. So the main source of revenue should be the fees by using the protocol itself.
Okay, thank you.
Pascal, no, I just wanted to check that question.
Oh yeah. Maybe for me, just a follow-up question. So you already mentioned for this NFTickets, you've talked with Celo and also one of the companies that pitched earlier. But how have you tested the need for it with other protocols so far? Or like what's your funnel right now? Your outreach, like with how many companies have you talked with?
Well, there is of course there is a need in the market for the NFTickets. There are companies that are working on that. The key differentiation with them is our green focus. For that, we are partnering with Enavers, and this was, let's say, our first benchmark. There is market for that. People, as they validate the use case, is willing to use this green technology, integrate the NFTicket there, and this is what differentiates us from the other competitors in the market. As I said before, we are coming from bloXmove as well, so this is also an important use case. The tickets for the green mobility, those are also in place. So more than us as a use case provider, let's say, we are the technology behind these use cases. So it is the use case itself, the one that needs to be profitable, the one that needs to be accepted by the community. We are just the enablers. We are just empowering the solution, and this is our main delivery here.
But just from an outreach perspective, like, I mean, your NFTicket probably would work best right now with companies such as earlier, like metaverse events. So does it mean your in your initial growth stage you would reach out to a lot of metaverse projects, or on what other industries do you see this to be a fit? Because right now you could not, for instance, integrate with an Eventbrite or something like this because you don't have fiat payment rates, so the average user could not use it. So it probably must be metaverse related.
Exactly. I mean, the fiat payment is always tricky, especially in regulated markets as Europe, let's say. And converting this payment internally with our master smart contracts on is also possible. This is actually what we are doing in Nigeria. We are working on a pilot right now for the mobility in Nigeria, in which the users, of course, pay with credit card, pay with bank accounts. We have on and off ramping partners, so we are converting this payment into crypto, and then we are handling all the logic frictionless on chain. But you're right. Of course, regulation is always a problem. It's always tricky to handle with. But we are expecting this to be in Europe sooner or later and other evolved markets, let's say. So we don't see a problem here. It is true that there is a second partner, which is the on and off ramping partner, but we can handle it everything much faster and frictionless on chain by just connecting this fiat to crypto part.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
What's the biggest challenge for you guys right now in the short term? Let's say over the next 6 weeks.
Well, the biggest challenge, of course, is to find more projects and more protocols that want to implement the technology and work on that. As I said, we are ready to implement it because this has been tested. This is API as a service, no real need for big adaptation, but we need to find the projects that are willing to do that and the projects that are aligned with our strategy. As I said, we are a green company with green focus, so use cases must be green by our nature. And this is what we're working on right now.
So all the projects you talked to and they not end up coming in, what was the predominant reason for it?
Sorry?
All the projects you talked to and they refused to use your service, what was the main reason for that?
Well, actually, we don't have a real project that said that they do not want to work with us. And we have a couple, maybe because of the timing, or that is what they say, that most of them are open to work, open to validate the technology, and open to test it. It is true that it's difficult to create trust in the market right now, especially with classic companies. Whenever you talk about,
but there must be a reason, right? Because eventually, if you talk to 100 projects or like 100 potential customers, then if there's no issue with working with you, then all 100 would already be working with you, right? Then it's just a matter of, from an integration perspective, of getting them on the platform, which obviously then requires tech, time, and talent, which I understand. But are they saying, like, now you mentioned trust, now you mentioned the current environment. So what is the key issue? They're saying, okay, I'm not trusting a startup at this point, or like I'm not doing anything because it's green, or like I'm not doing anything because right now I'm not launching anything in this market. So it's hard for you to actually engage with them. But what is sort of the key issue right now?
Well, the main issue is that we are in an early stage, so we have not addressed these 100 clients yet in order to do the proper market test. We have been working with Enoverse, they use it. We are working with a couple of German companies, they are using it. And this is the biggest challenge that we have right now. We need to address, we need to grow, we need to reach other companies and offer what we have. Because as you mentioned, we see very little friction and very little excuses, let's say, not to use the protocol, because it is actually bringing a lot of value, especially in the part of the certification that I think there was a question in the pitch before, how to ensure that the certificate is on chain, how to ensure that this is not duplicated, and so on. So we are also working with the companies that are issuing this certificate, and we are including a proof of this certificate on chain. So this means that in the same case as when you're using DocuSign for a PDF, there's a signature that you validate. Our API takes this signature, validates the issue of the signature, validates the person that is presenting this, but is also checking and validating a status on chain. So if this certificate have already been used, if this certificate have already been sold or burned for whatever reason, there is a status there and cannot be reused again. So this also ensures the uniqueness, and this is why we've been mentioned that it's really important to have attributes on chain, and it's really important to be able to certify that, okay, we are trusted. the protocol is trusted and you do not need to trust anything else but the protocol.